My name is Anoshile Michael Damlala. Yes, this incident, I call it an unfortunate incident, actually happened a day before the gubernatorial election of Lagos State. It was on March 8th. I work in a tank farm. I actually had a tank farm in Ojo, satellite town, where we load petroleum products. We're actually working on the pipeline that leads to the tank of 9 million liters for the PMS, Primary Metal Spirits. I was working with a couple of engineers, like 11 in the tank farm. We're like, probably tomorrow was election day, let us quickly have things done to put things in order. And also, we're actually expecting a vessel that's bringing our petroleum products down to the depot. I felt reluctant at the point. I insisted, I don't want to do this work for today. Let's postpone it till tomorrow. One of my directors has to come from the head office to mandate me to make sure we get things done, because we don't have to pay demurrage on our ship, our vessel that will be coming. And at a point, I left my director. So let me just walk around the bond wall. So in the course of walking around the bond wall, and I just heard, on the machine. That was all I heard. So the next thing I just heard was explosion, boom, fire everywhere. We were all struggling in the fire to come out. Everywhere was light up. The way fire was burning in a 9 million liters tank. We didn't even know where the fire came from. Whether from spark, I don't even know. Everything was tense. The environment was very hot. So I was able to walk out of the fire. Immediately I rolled on the floor as an experienced fireman. I rolled on the floor. When I rolled on the floor, because there was low oxygen when you roll on the floor, the lights went off, the fire went off me. I tore off my clothes. So I was like, am I dreaming? This should be a dream. I said, no. When I looked back, I saw people struggling also. My colleagues struggling in the fire. And because of it, I shouted for help. No one to help. And because of it, I signaled to the safety person that they should turn up the fire emergency squad for the machine. We activated it. We started fighting the fire. So in the course of it, everybody was just struggling. So I was able to move out. People attended to me. So because some of the drivers were loading, at that point, they rushed me down to the hospital. We were rushed to like 3 hospitals in Lagos. None of the hospitals accepted us. So because of moving on, we were able to rush down to Reddington Hospital. So we admitted at Reddington Hospital. To summarize the whole story, we got to a point whereby we were able to stabilize us. We were in the ICU. Some people were in the high dependency unit, that's HDU. When I saw my wife, I told her, oh, don't worry, just a small fire. I'll be leaving the hospital in 2 weeks. He said, oh boy, you don't know what is wrong with you. If you know the amount of fire. So when they call the burn specialist, she actually measured the amount of fire. He told me I was 68.7% burnt. So that would be a very big intense fire. So from there, they have to motivate us down to the theater. We did surgeries, able to revive us. That's not the big deal about the story. Got to a point whereby, after 2 weeks, when you have intense fire, the whole system has changed. At a point, they told me my bowel wasn't moving. That was when Pastor Manuel came. I think I was able to see him then. He came to the hospital, but my wife told me later that, the ICU intensivist doctor, the intensivist told my wife, said the ICU is 50-50 because they have inhaled enough smoke and they are not sure their survival rate is 50-50. So I think the man do print out so many printouts to the wives of the victims, say, please read, in case anything happens, the hospital has tried, just to prepare their mind down. So it got to a point whereby my boy wasn't moving because we were feeding on eggs. So they called my wife at a point, that the husband's bowel is not moving. And to get to a point, by tomorrow, if the bowel doesn't move by 9 o'clock, then really that will be the end of his health thing. My wife said, no, don't worry, it's going to move. So the woman called my wife and said, I'm a scientist. I'm a doctor. I don't believe in spiritual. But I said, don't worry, it will move. You know, the kind of faith she has then, you know, she left that day. She too was somehow panicked. She left home and said, this will not happen in her presence. Because along that time, most of the victims that were my colleagues, they're already losing their lives, you know. We got to a point whereby in the hospital every night, for like 5 or 6 consecutive days, every night one person must pass away. One person must die. So when it got to my turn, this is where the story lies. When it got to my turn, you know, I said, Mike's bowel wasn't moving. It got to a point and I said, God, my bowel wasn't moving. How am I going to survive? You know, my wife was ran home. She said, this will not happen in her presence. She said, ran home. I was having different type of dreams whereby, you know, I was in another world. I wasn't there seeing what is actually happening. You know, I was in another world whereby they tell you, don't poo, don't do this in my dream, you know. And meanwhile, what I need in the real life is to poo. You know, I wasn't myself. So, in the course of it, when it got to a point in the dream, I now saw the people that held us in captive. They went somewhere, so I was able to quickly get to a corner and I quickly poo. So while I was pooing in my dream, in the real life, same thing happened. So when I now woke up, I said, oh, I've messed up the bed. My brother said, no. The doctor just ran to my room. He said, do more. He said, yeah, your bowel is moving. So I was able to overcome that. The following morning, I called my wife. I said, babe, where are you now? I didn't see you. He said, Mike, Oku. He didn't die. I'm coming. She rushed down to the hospital again. You know, she saw the intensivist. The doctor saw her again, said, madam, your faith is strong. No problem. I think this is very good. And the bowel has moved now and is now okay. Then around the time again, my BP was around 170, I think over 120, I don't even know. But the BP is still high. And they said they've tried all the means again, and there's no how everything could come up. You know, that's when Pastor Manuel came in, I think then. So my wife told me, Pastor Manuel told her that you are doctors, do your own. God will actually manifest himself and he'll do his also. The following day, they gave me normal treatment. My BP wasn't dropping. And the doctor now said, by 10 o'clock tomorrow, if the BP doesn't drop, this is the 3rd day. They've tried all means. They've given him enough injections. They've given enough medications. And they can't go beyond that. So anything short of that, I think the system might shut down. My wife was like, told the doctor again, said, don't worry. The Lord that did the first one will do this again with faith. You know, and hold and behold, it came the following day, it came into manifestations the same day. My BP went down again from 170, the thing crashed down to about 110 or 120. The doctor came back the following day, said, have you tested Mike? They tested me and said, the BP has dropped again. He said, wow. He called my wife again, madam, come, which church do you go to? This should be a miracle. I believe in miracles. I'm a scientist, but these I believe. So that's how God helped me in 2 different ways whereby I should have lost my life, you know. I was able to escape death, you know, and remaining the burns in my body to now take care of the wounds. Definitely my system, organs are functioning very well as at that time, you know. Then we used about close like 2 weeks in Reddington Hospital. Then after then, Reddington management told us they could not even manage us again. We need to move down to Lagos Teaching Hospital, Lasut, to continue with the treatment. So he was able to move me down. So as at that time, we were only 2 remaining survival. We were only 2 survivals at the end of the day. You understand? So we were able to move down to Lasut. In course of moving down to Lasut, you know, life has to start all over again. I could not walk. I could barely sit. Even while sitting, they told me to stand up. I could not stand. I had to call a physiotherapist to stand me up, teach me how to stand all over again while in the hospital, because burns is very critical by your muscles is tense, that has held my muscles together, you know. I have to come up with so many different exercises, even while the wound is on. You know, because of it, so I remember when I got to Lasut, I was on a stretcher. While they were moving me, I could see very well from the stretcher to the bed. They have to use the bed sheets to carry me. 4 people to move me from the stretcher to the bed. So I was lying down in the bed, on my chest for over 2 years. So for like 2.5 years, that was how I was able to, in pains, serious pain. When you mean pains, in serious pains. In the course of it, I went for surgery, but most of the surgery failed. Skin grafting. They'll tell us there was a meltdown, graft syndrome, and there was an infection that happens to the skin. Skin grafting, you have to pick skin either from your labs, from your thigh, or from your buttocks. They'll scrape skin, put it in the machine, dermatol, make it a stretched skin, then put it back to the normal wound. Because of that, you have 2 wounds, because where they pick the skin from will be another wound. Where they are putting the skin also is another wound. So you'll be battling with 2 wounds at the same time. So I was able to survive that. We did that for about over 2 years. There wasn't a way forward. So because of it, there was this time when the coronavirus came, wanted to travel, couldn't travel, everything was standstill. So because of it, it got to a level, I think about 2021 January, a couple of nurses just walked in Lasut, because I was in critical care units in Lasut. It was a private ward, critical care unit in Lasut. So they came in, they just told me, they said, Mike, Mr. Noshele, we are tired of treating you. I think you need to leave the hospital. I look at my wife's eye, I said, because she did come around. I said, babe, I think these people are tired of. And I asked them, so are we not paying? They said, you are paying, but they are tired of treating us. I told my wife, I said, I think this is the time God wants to manifest himself. When we are leaving, and I spoke to my GMD of my company, the company assisted a lot. And I said, okay, fine, I think there's a new, since we couldn't travel, so we started searching for make device machine. That's for skin grafting, the latest one they are using around the world. We were able to get that. The company was very, very expensive, very, very expensive. The company was able to buy it, they purchased it. So when we got the machine, we were able to bring it back to Lasut. Because of when it came back to Lasut, they did a demo for them. Even when they used the machine, the skin grafting also failed again. So I think January 2021, we were able to leave Lasut. So we were able to try to bring a surgeon from Netherlands. The company was able to bring the surgeon from Netherlands, spoke with the surgeon. The surgeon came in, we were able to do the skin grafting. And once the young man doctor did the surgery, the thing stayed. So it got to a level again when we did the skin grafting. It was the head, the back, and the leg. Because my leg were very bad. It was like, see if I had a sore, I couldn't walk. It was a very deeper wound. Very deep. When you say a wound, is very deep wound. They checked the first one and back. They said that one picked. It's okay. The leg, we were struggling. There was just little that took. So I started praying. I called my wife. I said, please. I called people. I said, please start praying for me. I think the leg on, the surgeon told me if it can pick a little, I think, or the little skin that is there, if it can survive, it will spread. And God did it. It's actually spread. I was able to overcome it. Then the head, I lost the graft completely. Because at the point, I asked the surgeon, I said, what happened? He said we didn't use skin stapler, because once they put the skin, they use a skin stapler to hold the skin to the wounds. So he said he forgot, he didn't use the skin stapler on my head. The reason why he didn't use it, because some of the skin might be buried. One of the staple pins might be buried in your head or in the wounds. So it takes time before those staple pins will be removed. So because of it, I lost the skin on the head. And he said, maybe I'm going to come for another skin graft. I said, no. He said, this will be the last skin graft I will do in my life. I said, the head will pick by the grace of God. So I started treatment. We're just using normal treatment. The man from Netherlands got me some powders I was putting on the wound. So along the line, the head started picking. Even the head now picked better than the back that the grafts took. So along the line, the head was perfect, the leg were perfect, and my back was perfect. So within 2 months, I was out of hospital. So I thought that was the end of everything, you know. While out of the hospital, I said, thank God, at least with a little wound, they said, I think the nurse said it's not good to stay in the hospital for long so that you won't have more infection. So I should go back home. Then they will be treating me, having my dressing at home. Then I'll be an outpatient. Maybe I'll come to the hospital, do some. Then maybe probably the nurse will do some for me in the house. I said, okay, no problem. I thought that was the end. So in the course of leaving the hospital, I thought that was the end. Then the devil brought his own work again. You know, I told my wife, I said, I have to leave the hospital. She told me, no, with all these big wounds, you can't leave the hospital currently now. You have to wait for like a month. I said, please let me leave. My spirit tells me I should just leave. You know, Mike, it's too much. Stay in the hospital for like a month, stabilize properly then. But I thought that my spirit tells me I should leave. You know, because of what we were dragging, I thought, okay, no problem, let me stay. So just within a month, I stayed in the hospital back again. My health started deteriorating back again. You know, got to a level I didn't even know what was wrong with me. You know, they started running different tests. There was one that they call a central line. This is a kind of line, you know, it's used for injection. Mostly when you want to do surgery, they'll pass the central line, is either to your chest or they use the jugular catheter down to your neck. I wasn't comfortable with the jugular catheter. Got to a point without even knowing that the central line inside, when the chest and thoracic surgeon inserted the central line, it was infected. So in the course of removing it, I wasn't balanced, you know. Different tests started running. They told me later I have coronavirus. Then I brought a letter that I should go to IDH around that time. I said, IDH. I called my wife. I said, I'm not going to IDH. I'll go back home. If God lives it and this is coronavirus, God that knows the nature and how to cure different diseases is going to cure me. But I know I do not have coronavirus. So because of packing our loads to leave the hospital, they just called back again. One of the doctors just gave me, Mr. Noshi, I'm very sorry. He said the result was for another person. They actually took it for me, you know. I said, definitely I have to leave the hospital. I have made up my mind. I need to leave the hospital. From there, I left the hospital and I went back home. So from there, I thought that was the end. So internally, I knew I wasn't strong enough. I was battling with some illnesses, you know. I wasn't myself that anymore. So I thought that was the end. You know, when I got home, I worked with some couple of surgeons. I got some people. So because of the organizing what actually happened, do some tests, I had pulmonary embolism. And when I now read through pulmonary embolism, I called a friend. It was a theater manager, you know, in US. He told me, Mike, you should be in the ICU by now. How you have pulmonary embolism and you're in the house? No. Pulmonary embolism is just like having a blood clot in your heart. But you won't know, except even tests, even if you do scan might not even bring it out. And as worse as it is, it's like 1 out of 100% might get sick because it will just actually shut you down without even knowing what the cause of the death. It's after the death that we know probably it was pulmonary embolism. We were not smart enough to have arrested this kind of illness. So to God be the glory, I was able to arrest it on time. I started the treatment while on bed. And I was on oxygen for another couple of 2.5 months or so. Every day I was on oxygen in the house. I was on oxygen completely. My house was like, Mike, you need to go back to us. I said, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'd rather buy the oxygen and take it down in the house. Because I was tired of hospital environment. You know, when you wake up in the morning, the same set of people you see yesterday, same set of people you are seeing for 2 years plus. Same nurses, same doctor, they were coming. I was actually tired, you know. Now I got to a level, you know, I was able to tackle it. Everything went over. I was able to come out of the pulmonary embolism, did the normal medication, start up life again. Then from there, I could not even walk anymore. I always thought the one in the hospital when I had burns was the end, without even knowing the one I would engage or encounter at home would be more drastic, more tougher with what I've actually had when I was in hospital. So I have to start life all over again. I have to learn how to walk, take back my walking stick with exercises, start all over, I remember when Pastor Manuel came, when my wife came to my house, came to my room to tell me Pastor Manuel and Pastor Angela, they were around. And Reverend too actually came, thank God, you have good people around you, I remember I could not even walk 5 seconds. If I stand up, walk, just carry 2 legs, I'll be tired. I will fall off. So I have to start the whole lifestyle from scratch, as if I was a little baby, and to God be the glory. God helped me, I was able to overcome it. Then around March this year, I was able to do some correction, how burns is, when you have burns, you have contracture, at times you can actually not finish burn surgery, just in a day at once. I have to do some corrective measure, before, because I told my wife, how will a man be in the house? I cannot change a bulb in the house. I cannot even raise up my hand properly, got to a point, I have to call back the surgeon. They did correction for me in my handprints, in my fingers, did some correction because I was contracture, So by now, I can raise up my hand properly, I can move my body back again. Where they were contracture, they did release. So I'm back to my normal self. To God be the glory. You see, my saving prayer, look at, I'm a kind of person, my wife did tell me, he said, your faith, I don't know where you got it from, I'm always very positive. God talks to me in my dream. I was able to hear God's voice in my dream. At times, God does speak to us. It's we, at times, we don't listen. Yeah, if you look at Psalm 91, verse 15 actually tells us that, call upon me, I will answer you. He didn't even say, I will answer you again. He said, I will help you in trouble. 1, I will deliver you and honor you. So when God says in His word that you should call upon Him, He's going to deliver you in trouble. He didn't say, He said in trouble, I will deliver you and I will honor you. The honor God gives or bestows to us is not our privilege. We don't want it. It is we that should honor God, not God should honor us. Because it takes favor, it takes grace. Because I always tell my wife, it's only grace that has sustained me. I wasn't better than those who has gone. Why God has sustained me to this extent. I remember when I was in Reading thing, when I still battled with how to sit and how to stand. The physiotherapist would call me, 1, 2, stand. I won't move to stand. I said, I can't make it. I remember when my son came, he said, when he saw me, he ran away. I told him, I said, bring him closer. He said, who is this? I don't know him. I said, it is me. The young boy looked at me, he said, no, it is not. He said, that is it you. He was able to recognize me with the voice. Because all over I was burnt. I was wrapped with crepe bandage, all around white. Because what I look at myself at that time, I look at God. If you are God, please, God honor me. I don't know what I have done. I don't know, and I know I'm a sinner. I don't know, when God honors you at times, I think grace will speak for you. Grace will speak for you. I put my hope in God, and that's all. It's not because I'm faithful. It's not because I'm 100% good. It's not because I'm righteous before Him. You understand? But because I believe God loves me. When God has given you life, you can only look back at what has actually happened and always give thanks to Him. There is no amount of thanks you give to God that can quantify or is quantifiable to what He has done for us in life. Because I always look at people, I always tell people, Some people will complain, I don't have money, I don't have this, I don't have that. But for the fact you can stand on your own to walk to toilets, you can stand on your own, you could eat yourself. I remember when I was I could barely eat. At a point, I should tell you, I was eating 2 crates of eggs per day. They'll blend it. Surgeon will say, drink it. Even when you want to vomit, say, drink it. I was on 2 crates per day. Got to a level, now change it to 1 per day. I took that for over 3 years. If you are eating yourself, you can do your normal daily activities yourself. I think that's enough miracles. We shouldn't expect any miracle more than that. Except you want to tempt God. Or you are telling God, God has not done enough for us. If you go to hospital, my brother and sister, things are not the way it used to be. I have the cause to thank God. I love this song a lot. Ọpẹ́ ló yẹ ọ́, bàbá olóore, ìyìn ló yẹ ọ́, Ọlọ́run mi, Hosanna yẹ ọ́, ó ṣé o Baba. That tells me God is worthy of my praise. And I have this second song to say, Tìrẹ ni Olúwa, mo fi sílẹ̀ fún. I leave everything to God. My morning, my afternoon, my evening, all I have in my life right now, I give it unto God. I don't have anything else to fight over or to start complicating or to. Everything I have, I give it unto God, because it's God that gives us this breath. Because my dad did tell me one thing. He said, the owner of the breath, if he takes it from you, what can you do? You can actually do nothing. You get it? So, and I have this thought song that said, I never knew God, you honor me this way. I never knew you honor me this way. I never knew you honor me this way. You honor me this way. God has been faithful to me. All these years, I've been very, I was honored. Because it got to a time, even when I was 68% burnt, let me tell you something. There's someone of my colleague that was 38% burnt. I left the hospital before 38% burnt. 68.7% burnt person left the hospital 6 months before someone of 38% burnt left the hospital. So why won't I thank God? It's not my power but my might. As I said, it's all to the glory of God. All this testimony I'm saying is not to say anything but to encourage everyone out there, to tell you that God is still God. If you are still looking for God, or you think God is, God doesn't listen to prayers, God doesn't hear prayers, God listens and God hears all our prayers. Thank you very much.